Yes. Welcome, everybody. It's Cannabis News. I'm here, Joe Claire. It's July 31st, 2019, the last day of the month. The show, as always, is presented by the Marijuana Times. You can find us at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there to find the show. Today, we're talking about Ohio, some celebration, a time to reflect a little bit in Ohio about some of the recent victories there. Also, Snapchat and Twitter risk running afoul of Canadian advertising laws when it comes to marijuana. And we'll update you on a story about a Rastafarian church we brought you a few months ago. All of that coming up. But first, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Grow safe and poison-free. Don't use harmful chemicals on what you're growing, what people are going to be ingesting. Of course, be regulatory compliant in the state that you're growing in. You can do these things with Natureside, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Thank you, Natureside. This first story by yours truly, as mentioned, a time to reflect and celebrate in Ohio. You can check it out. It's linked in the description of this video, of course, or you can find it at marijuanatimes.org. Basically, last few weeks have been writing about what's been going on in Ohio. At first, it looked like that the hemp regulations, the hemp growing regulations, would be pushed back, at least a discussion about them would be pushed back until the fall. And suddenly the legislature pushed through the hemp regulations, the hemp growing regulations, and the CBD clarifications. And by the way, the governor signed that yesterday. So that was good. A lot of clarification in Ohio. Also, there was some about the Norwood Day Parade in that article. Nick Balzer, co-founder and CEO of Queen City Hemp, which is a CBD manufacturer in Cincinnati, told the Marijuana Times, quote, "We are thrilled that Bill 57 has passed, decriminalizing hemp cultivation and the retail sale of hemp derivatives like CBD in Ohio. As Ohio's first manufacturers of hemp-based wellness products, we have been vocal supporters of this bill alongside the countless farmers, small business owners, and consumers who supported this action. With this new law, Ohio is distinguishing hemp from marijuana, just as the federal government has done, and clearing up any gray area concerning the production and sale of hemp in all of its forms. It's a major victory for our state and the hemp industry at large. It makes the products like our CBD seltzer accessible once again, in our hometown of Cincinnati." There was some confusion between the Board of Pharmacy and companies like Queen City, and Queen City was forced to move some of their operations out of state, so now they can bring those back with the hemp regulations and the clarifications on the CBD laws. Basically, federal law says that CBD derived from hemp is legal. Ohio's law now reflects that and basically says the same thing, which clears up any confusion that there was surrounding her. Ohio Board of Pharmacy said, well, CBD is not legal unless it's part of the medical marijuana program, and CBD suppliers said, no, that's not true. Federal law says that it's legal. So now Ohio law and federal law mesh. They can coexist, and a lot of confusion, as I said, is cleared up. And next year, they'll be planting hemp in the ground in Ohio. Ohio was one of the last handful of states that didn't have any hemp growing regulations. This next story from MarketWatch.com. Snapchat and Twitter cannabis ads risk government crackdown. Yes, that's right. The evil cannabis ads. Snapchat Inc. and Twitter Inc. are gambling that they can profit off the growing marijuana industry by running ads for cannabis products from licensed Canadian producers, testing restrictive laws in Canada on marketing weed. Regulators in Canada declined to comment on an ongoing investigation into ads Hexo Corp ran on Snapchat. On both Snap and Twitter, they published ads for some of the largest marijuana companies in Canada, such as Aurora Cannabis. Excuse me, as the Toronto Raptors fought their way to the NBA championship, Hexo even went as far as sponsoring a Snapchat filter for users at a playoff game in Toronto. Smaller rivals such as Cannabis Global have also been interested in advertising on social platforms. It was one of the first companies that participated in Twitter's beta test for the ad platform. Facebook and Alphabet, which is a subsidiary, their subsidiary is Google, do not allow advertisements for recreational drugs, which includes pot, according to the company's advertising policies. So, anything that pushes this narrative or this notion that marijuana is somehow dangerous, I will fight against with every means at my disposal. And this notion that marijuana is so dangerous that even the advertising for it has to be highly restricted in a place like Canada where marijuana is for adult use and adult possession and all that, federally legal. No. I mean, I understand the argument, oh, we don't want kids seeing these ads and they don't want them using marijuana. Look, first of all, legalization, the data from legalization in the United States has shown that while all other age groups, their use goes up, teen use, underage use does not go up, and in some areas even declines. The notion that if they see a marijuana commercial or something, or a marijuana gummy, they're going to be hooked on the devil's lettuce, and it's going to lead them down to down a road of degradation and awfulness. I don't buy it. I don't buy that marijuana is so dangerous that the ads have to be tightly restricted and heavily regulated. I think that's garbage. I think that's a garbage excuse. And like I said, anything that advances this notion that marijuana is something that's this super dangerous substance that we got to watch at every turn, it's not. It's just not. That's a false narrative. And I, for one, will have no part of it. Snapchat, Twitter, should be able to run all the ads they want. Facebook, all of them. Marijuana ads, big weed leaves everywhere. It's not going to harm anybody. You'll be fine. You see a big weed leaf on Facebook, you'll be okay. I think you'll survive. Sorry, that was very condescending and sarcastic, but it was meant to be. Because if you see a weed leaf on Facebook and you think that it harms you somehow, well, you're a moron. Again, I don't know what else to say. Most of these words are probably going over your head. Okay, that's enough. We're moving on now. This is from Madison.com. We're back, baby. Rastafarian Church reopens without cannabis distribution. Sounds just off the top of my head, it sounds less fun. After a favorable court ruling, the self-styled Rastafarian Church downtown is reopened, but without the prior open use of cannabis and acceptance of donations, which is in quotes, from church members in exchange for dispensations of marijuana sacrament. Sacrament is also in quotes. On Wednesday, a handmade sign saying "We're back, baby" stood outside the storefront Line of Judah House of Rastafari at 555 West Mifflin Street. Madison, Wisconsin natives Jesse Schwartz and Dylan Paul opened the church in March. But after an investigation, authorities raided the establishment, arrested the leaders, and shut down operations on May 29th, which was the story we brought you back then. The back door is still boarded up from the raid, which was initiated by Dane County Narcotics Task Force and involved more than 20 officers. Both men are still going through the court system. They have charges like drug trafficking, maintaining a drug trafficking place and possession with intent to deliver marijuana. Schwartz also faces misdemeanor battery and disorderly conduct charges stemming from an alleged dispute with a customer he said took the marijuana sacrament without the requisite donation. Both men contend the police in the city are infringing on their right to practice their religion. They were allowed to reopen the church, which is supposed to house homeless people and provide other services other than the marijuana sacrament. Basically, they told them that when they do, they will not be allowed to touch marijuana or be around marijuana or any other controlled substances or break the law in any other way. So we'll see how that goes. As I pointed out before, and as many of you know, the religious defense for marijuana use is not something that's gone well previously in the courts. There's been some victories, but for the most part has not been a winning strategy. And frankly, I'm one of those people, as you know, if you watch the show a lot, that I don't think you need a reason to have marijuana or use marijuana or give marijuana to other people or sell marijuana to other people. You don't need a reason. You don't need a medical reason. You don't need a religious reason. You're an adult human being who's not infringing on the rights of anyone else. That's enough of a reason. That's the only reason you need. If there's not a victim, if you're not infringing on the rights of someone, there is no crime. So if you're growing, selling, possessing, using, praying to marijuana, I don't care. It's none of my business. It's nobody's business to be allowed to do so. And if other like-minded people want to come and give you money for the marijuana they're going to pray to, well, that's called a business. And yes, I know, well, you need licenses and regulations. Well, in a perfect world, you wouldn't. Because it's just not that big a deal. Again, this thing where, marijuana is just this really dangerous, volatile substance that if we don't have a bunch of laws in place and regulations, things are just going to go haywire. Well, not really. I mean, the black market of marijuana that's dominated for 80 years, they didn't have a bunch of rules and regulations in place. You know what happened? Most people just bought weed. Obviously, there was some violence involved because these people couldn't take their disputes to a court or any other, type of mediation. Things obviously in the drug world, in the illegal world, in the black market are settled violently, but nobody died from overdose on marijuana. People got shot in marijuana deals. That's not the fault of marijuana. It's the fault of prohibition. Marijuana itself is fine. You'll be fine. If you see a wheelie on Facebook, you'll be fine. If there's a church selling marijuana down the street, you'll be fine. If there's people infringing on your property or whatever, then that's a different matter. But somebody selling marijuana and calling it Rastafari or whatever they want to call it, I don't care. They're not harming you. You're fine. Did I mention you're fine? You'll be okay. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the show. Keep spreading the word, please, about cannabis with this show. Like, share, comment. Subscribe on YouTube and Vimeo, of course, Apple Podcasts as well for the audio version. Thank you to Nature Side, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thank you all for watching and listening today. We'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.